Hi there, Prairie Girl here. Today is an exciting day because I'm going to be putting some seeds into soil. And it's January, so that's always a fun time when you can be getting seeds started. I'm in Saskatchewan, Canada, so it is still mountains of snow outside, very cold, bundle up weather, but inside I'm starting my seed starting. So let's get going. What I'm going to be starting today is some pansy seeds that I collected off of Frizzle Sizzle Pansies. And I was doing a germination test on these, and I started the germination test. I don't have the date written on this bag, but I know I started it 6 days ago. So look inside here, and I know I had some germination. I'll put a little photo in there for you, but there's at least 4 seeds now that have germinated out of 10 after 6 days. And I'm pretty happy with that germination rate. I'm sure if I went a few more days, I could get even more, but I don't have a ton of these seeds. And I would really love to have lots of pansies to put out in my yard, and especially some early pansies, because pansies can even take cold weather. Like a friend of mine said last year when I told him I was putting my pansies out in like February, he says, but they're pansies, aren't they? Like, it's cold out, it's Saskatchewan. I said, don't worry, pansies are not named well. They're great, they're strong plants, and they can handle the cold. So I'm gonna put these seeds that germinated into soil. Now normally when I do a germination test, I don't really worry about planting up the seeds that I'm testing. But because I would like to have lots of these pansies and some nice early ones to put out nice and early, I'm going to plant these up. And then I will have them nice and early into some good sized plants that I can put outside, maybe in a few pots at my front door or whatnot, just to, kick things off when I've just had enough of winter and I just need to see a little bit of color outside. So I have just some regular growing medium here. This is just not a special seed starting mix or anything. I buy it in large bales from a local actual farm supply store, but it's basically just peat moss with a little bit of perlite and lime added in. The perlite just gives a little bit of aeration, and the lime just adjusts for pH. And it's called a professional grower's mix, but I just buy it locally, and that's why it has the lime in. I don't do that. They've done that for me just to adjust the pH to make a nice soil for growing plants in. And because it doesn't have a lot of extras in it, and it's a nice peat moss, it has nice fine textures to it, nothing too big and bulky, and it's good for growing seeds in. I don't worry about purchasing seed starting mix that's special for seed starting, because I find it tends to be quite expensive, and a lot of times you can just get regular potting soil. And if you find big lumps or sticks or anything in it, then just take those out and obviously put them to the side. You can put them in the compost or in your yard or whatever. But the regular seed starting mix is just made to be a finer texture for starting seeds in. There's nothing really overly special about it other than that. I prefer to get something that doesn't have added fertilizers in it, just to not overstimulate my plants as they're getting started. The seeds themselves have everything they need in them for the first few weeks until they have their true leaves. So you don't really need to worry about watering the very young seeds and seedlings until they're a little more established. I'm just packing this down, not rock hard, but enough so that it won't sink down when I water these later and bury the plants. And I have my mix just damp. It's I wouldn't be able to wring any water out of it if I gave it a squeeze. Honestly, this mix, I purchased this bale of mix last winter, so it's been sitting, so it's quite dry. So I had to put quite a bit of water into it, but I think I've got it moist enough now that it should hold that moisture. That's one thing you have to be careful with peat moss, is it can get a little bit hydrophobic, and then it's hard to get it to take up the moisture that you need it to take up. Okay, I'm a little out of practice with this. That took me a minute to get these filled up, but they're all nicely filled up now. So I'm just gonna pop that mix out of the way. And I'm just gonna be taking my seeds here and picking them up and putting one in each cell. Now I have 4 that I can see for sure have germinated. So all I know is I'm going to be getting 4 out of this, but I do have 10 seeds here. So I'll put 2 of the not germinated into one of these cells, and then hopefully I have a tray of 9 pansies to put out later. But that'd be pretty good germination off of collected seeds. So we'll see how it works. I'm hoping, I didn't bring tweezers down with me. I'm hoping with just dipping a little skewer in some water, I can pick up these germinated seeds without hurting them and put them into the little seed spaces here. So I'm just going to take the seed is on the end there, set that down. This longer part you see is the sprout off the seed. So just set it down, try not to damage it, onto the soil there if I can. And I'll go over, find another one that's germinated. Might need to dip my skewer again. And then just try and pick another one up. Now sometimes they kind of embed themselves into the paper towel. We don't want to damage them. That one's in there pretty good. Sometimes if you just spray. So I was trying to do this fairly soon in the process so they didn't get too deep into the toweling. This looks like there's a whole stem piece here that was kind of stuck in the toweling, so I'm just going to kind of take it with the toweling if I need to try and not break the stem, break the toweling more than anything else. Okay, so now I think I have it free. There we go. So if you can see it on the end there, and onto the soil. There we go. So I'm going to continue to try and pick them up. I'd like to find the ones that have germinated for sure first. And put them all together. I'm just going to really wet this down so they want to come free for me. Get this guy. So again, I'm just breaking the toweling up at the end of the skewer a little bit so that I don't break the sprout on the seedling. And I'll pop it down on this soil surface there. And this one I know is also germinated, so I'm gonna put that in. So that was 4 I could see for sure were germinated. And now I'm just going to grab the rest. That one looked like it actually had a little point of starting on it too. This one has broken open. So hopefully you can see that in the little photo there, that the seed shell is broken open on that last one for sure. I could tell that. So that should develop into a seedling. Another one here, if I can get it lifted up. And I got the paper towel really wet. Now these, there we go, got it to stick to the skewer. Now I have, that should be 8, so there should be 2 more. One of them doesn't look real healthy, so I'm actually going to leave it. It's very black, not looking very good. I'll try and get this last one, which I think has, yeah, it looks like a little white piece on the edge of it as well, so probably the shell is broken open on that one as well. So I'm thinking I have at least 5 that should grow, no, 6 that should grow nicely for me. A couple more that, with any luck, will also grow well. So like I said, I had 10 seeds on here, but the one is really kind of black and kind of not very nice looking. So I think it's rotted, so I'm not going to worry about trying to save that, and just that way I won't be introducing any disease or problems into what I have here. So I'm going to water these with the spray bottle real well just to try and settle them onto the soil surface. So now they should all have really good contact with the soil that they were set on. And I could go over with a really thin layer of potting mix. I honestly can't remember if pansies like to be covered or not, but I feel like they're not real fans of being covered up real deep, so I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm going to take, this is just really fine vermiculite, and this is what I prefer for going over my seedlings. And I just put a real thin layer on top when I planted the seeds, and it still makes it easy for the seedlings to push their way out. It's not very heavy. It holds moisture nicely. Just want to make sure that vermiculite's down. So it'll hold the moisture nicely, and it will give off extra moisture that it's holding in it if the top layer of soil becomes dried out, and it'll take up excess moisture if there's a little bit too much in there. So it helps to keep things like damping off from occurring, and that's why I like it so much. Sometimes when you're buying vermiculite, oftentimes it's sold actually as more of a medium texture or a larger texture, which is almost like small rocks. This is almost like grains of sand. And oftentimes I find the packages are not labeled fine, but I just get lucky with some of them and they're fine. So whenever I grab a bag of vermiculite and I open it up and it's fine vermiculite, I'll save that for seed starting and get other vermiculite for mixing into soil if I want it for mixing into soil. I do have one store here where I am. It's a home hardware, and I can order vermiculite from them, and it's, I think every time I've ordered it has been fine vermiculite. So that's what I usually look for. If I have time to wait for an order to come in, I'll just get it from there. So if you're in Saskatchewan, Western Canada, I think, then I think home hardwares are around and you could probably give that a try. I honestly don't even know what the brand of it is, but that's what I do to get my fine vermiculite. So now all I'm going to do, just like any seed starting, I'm going to put this into my tray. Now I'm going to try and remember. So I made myself a tag already, and it just says Pansies Frizzle Sizzle from collected seeds. So I know it might not come out as a true frizzle sizzle. This is a row where they were all germinated already, and then I think there was some down this way. So I'm going to put the tag in that corner to try and remind me of that. This tray will just hold any water when I want to get watering later on. Right now I'll just be spraying on top until they're all germinated and up with true leaves. I just put a humidity dome on, and I'm going to close up the little holes on top to keep the humidity nice and high in here. Moisture is your number one thing for helping to get seeds germinating and going. And I'm just going to be putting this on my plant rack. Now there's lights on there, but these don't actually require the lights to be on, but that's just where I'll keep them, and then I'll see it and remember to look at it and check on it whenever I'm checking on my other plants. I'll be checking on these as well. Once I get true leaves on these plants, about 80% of them, then I'll take my humidity dome and either take it right off, or I can open up the little holes on top, or just stick a popsicle stick or something in and vent it out, depending on how high the humidity is in here. Sometimes plants, as they're young, still need just a little bit more humidity, but they want that airflow. So sometimes even just lifting it up a little bit is a good thing, or opening up the vents. But once they have their first true leaves, usually you're safe to take off that humidity dome and just keep an eye on them. If they seem like they're wilting down quick, like I said, you could go back and kind of just have it raised so they still get some air circulation. The true leaves are not those first leaves that you'll see. Those are cotyledon leaves or seed leaves. And then the next set of leaves that come out that will look actually more like a pansy leaf or the leaf of whatever plant you're growing, that's the true leaves. So it's like the second set of leaves usually. So that's all I have to do with these, except put them on the plant rack. So thanks for coming along with me to get my very first seed set to soil for the 2025 gardening season. I'm very excited for it. Let me know down below what's the first things that you're going to be sowing for this year, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.